I'm biracial and I'm proud. I'm biracial and I proclaim it loud. I'm biracial, no hate can keep me down. No matter what my haters say, I proudly rep both of my races today. I'm biracial and I'm proud. I'm biracial and I proclaim it loud. I'm biracial and no hate can...
Salam alaikum YouTube, what's cracking? It's your angry biracial back with another video. This video is different than the videos that I normally do. This 50-year-old woman with 200,000 plus subscribers started to intentionally spread some lies about me. In February and March and April, she spent a lot of time making up shit about me. She used her platform to spread lies, misinformation, and to bully. And in this video, we're gonna go behind the scenes of this fucking snake. And just to make it clear, we're talking about Tanya TKO. This is the picture that you're gonna see up top of all the text messages she sent me. We both had iPhones. This is her reaching out to me, trying to be all super friendly, saying she reacted to one of my videos. But before I dive too deep into that, I know I'm missing one vital part here. She reached out to me first on TikTok because people were tagging her in all of my videos. So she would get on my videos and say, "Hey, Jesse, you want to talk to me?" And I was surprised at that point that she knew my real name because I was just going by Angry Biracial. So before she even reached out to me, she had researched me because she knew who I was. But everyone knows my original account, Angry Biracial, got banned on TikTok. And since it got banned, I can't access a lot of the original messages. I have some that I sent out to other content creators before my account got banned. But she was flirting with me in a big way in that TikTok chat. Another bigger content creator reacted to those flirtatious text messages. I sent them to her behind the scenes. I'll post a link to that video below. But I'm gonna keep it 100. I knew she was flirting with me. But instead of cutting it off like I should have, I saw an opportunity to grow my channel. And that's where I fucked up. I thought if I can just keep bringing my wife into the conversation and keep letting her know that I'm married and keep it professional, that this will be okay. So on February 14th at 4 p.m., we had this conversation about her reacting to my video. This is Valentine's Day. I told her, "My wife is gonna flip when she sees my video on your show. Thank you." Again, I wanted to keep interjecting my wife in there as a polite way to let her know I'm not interested in the flirting. That is just all business. But then around 8 o'clock that same day, she sent me a happy Valentine's Day text with an animation on it of a big heart exploding. And clearly she knew I was married because I kept interjecting my wife into it. As you can see in this video, I wanted to pick her brain about how many live streams that she did, professionally. See that up here? And then she sends me Happy Valentine's Day, and I click the replay on it, and the heart blows up. And I felt kind of taken aback by that, but I was trying to be polite, so I said, in response, "Happy Valentine's Day, sister. Hope your day is blessed." And again, I wanted to be as respectful and as polite as possible, but I knew she was flirting. I knew her interest was more than just trying to promote my channel and liking my content. And on my channel, I talk about male accountability. I should have nipped it in the butt in the beginning. But again, I thought if I was professional and kept bringing my wife up, she would get the hint. But then she asked me, "What should I save your name as in my phone?" And we were talking about farming and hemp and stuff, because I owned a farm. And at this point, I thought that she was a nice older lady, like a cougar, who thought I was handsome and wanted to help promote my channel. For the life of me, I never thought she would get so scorned. When I didn't flirt back with her, when I kept bringing up my wife, when I kept making it about business, and I wasn't giving her back the same energy she was giving me. And at this point, she started digging for information about my family, asking me about my various different last names. I didn't know if she was planning an ambush at this point. I just thought she was still being friendly. I gave her a free copy of my audiobook, and that's how she was able to delve so much information about me, because it's all in my audiobook that I wrote and I published. Now, this is where stuff starts to change for me a little bit. Some of my stalkers from the Golden Sphere, the same two mixed race women that called my wife a monkey. And as you see in upcoming texts, I explained that to her. But they reached out to her trying to bash me because I was starting to blow up. I was getting big on TikTok, and now I had a woman with 200,000 subscribers promoting my videos and talking about me and my music. I honestly don't think Tanya's started out as malicious against me. It changed when I wouldn't match her same flirtatious energy. I think she felt rejected by me and wanted to put me in my place, and this was the start of it. Some of y'all remember the American Girl doll debacle. She has it on her channel now. To me, it was an innocent video about a conversation that my wife and I had. My two oldest daughters that looked just as mixed as me wanted more Arab-looking dolls. Dolls they can identify with, dolls look like them. My wife and her side of the family wanted them to have darker skinned dolls. My wife and I have been married for 11 years, so we had a conversation about it like a healthy married couple. And as you know, I featured my wife in other videos of mine, where we discussed colorism and how it affected her. And I explained my side to her as well about the mixed race identity crisis and the many colorism issues that we have. So my wife and I both had trauma from colorism. Her growing up one of the darkest people in her family and dealing with the colorist self-hate of Kangs who always poked fun of her because of her skin tone. Me being biracial, not really fitting anywhere, and also the colorist hate that I got from Kangs. But in the end, we agreed to let our daughters pick the dolls that they identified with. But this is where that whole conversation stemmed from. She got a comment from one of the haters from the Golden Sphere, lying their asses off. And I tried to explain this to her and even presented her with proof. And I was starting to get the vibe here that she didn't care whether it was true or not at this point. She was already scorned, and now she had a juicy controversy to bash me with. She said, "Did you call biracial women black?" And I told her I did not. And when I was in that biracial space, my content was pretty much the same. I would uplift black women and shit on Kangs. And the dynamic in that space is fucking weird. The vast majority of the mixed race women in that space, they loved and they worshiped black men, but hated black women. And they couldn't stand the fact that me, as a mixed race powerhouse in that space, was uplifting black women and not uplifting the mixed race women. Hurt their feelings. So they went on the attack. And Tanya, not giving two fucks about the truth, her feeling rejected and seeing an opportunity to get some apples, dove into this story. I explained to her about the drama in that space, about the anti-blackness in that space. I told her about the horrific stalkers that started in that space. I mean, the whole thing about my mother being a white lady instead of being Arab started from a stalker in that space. And this was back in January, even before I went on Tana TKO's show. This creep here, I'm not going to name him because he wants clout off me. He went to my Facebook page where I have a lot of pictures of me and my brothers and sisters, as I shown in another video. Downloaded pictures from my page, from my brother's page, and some of my other siblings' pages. Then got pictures of this lady, Lisa, this poor disabled lady, and made a post starting this stupid, foolish rumor. I let it go. I ignored it because this dude had a really small channel, just harassing me. I said, fuck it, dude's an idiot. But before I dive into this bullshit, let me finish with Tanya. And after I got done explaining it all to her, I felt that maybe there was some understanding there. I told her to go research it for herself. Because back then, all of their videos were still up where they were saying this crazy shit. Then she changed the subject to the farm that I wanted to build for black women. And here is where I show her the proof in a TikTok video I made on my original TikTok, Angry Biracial, where I was attacked by two biracial women for marrying a black woman. The same biracial women that were commenting on her channel and spreading lies, misinformation, and hate about me. So she was fully aware of the entire background and the entire story of all of this. I know I'm kind of jumping around a bit because there's a lot to cover because a lot has happened. But then she sends me a text, again about the American Girl dolls. Says someone sent her a video of me talking about it. But the video was like a short 20-second clip and then someone reacting to that short 20-second clip of me saying mixed race girls shouldn't be forced to play with dolls they don't identify with.
Hey, salam alaikum. Well, I know you're doing your live, and I'm gonna do a video to whatever, because like I didn't say nothing bad in that video, but at the end of the day, I am a mixed race man. You know, at the end of the day, my struggle with identity growing up as half black and half Arab, you know, it was hard for me. And my kids look more mixed than me, my two oldest daughters I was talking about. And in that video, I say that they wanted mixed looking dolls and not dark-skinned dolls. So I wasn't taking any shots at black women or anything. It was just, I am a father, and I want to protect my daughters at all costs. And my wife, being a black woman, she didn't understand the mixed race identity that I went through. I mean, the mixed race struggle that I went through. And I don't want my daughters to go through that. My daughters are already starting to go through that, where people at her school are calling them white girls, saying that they're not really black. So I wanted to reaffirm confidence in my daughters about who they are, saying, no, you guys are mixed race. It's happy to, you guys should be proud to identify as mixed race. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what that video was about, but it's what it is.
She had already started her live stream and she was texting me this during her live. She was essentially begging me to come on and discuss this with her. But I was busy with my kids. She wanted me to come to the comments at least. I made it clear I don't want to be bashed for a video that was discussing the conversation that my wife and I had concerning my daughters. I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't have to explain it. Here's a picture of my daughters to put it into perspective. As you saw in the text message, I wasn't expecting an ambush at all. And then she kept begging me to come on. She was also sending me several emails as well, wanting me to come on the show. And she acted so surprised when I did call in. And the only reason why I did, because I honestly thought she was still promoting my channel. I didn't know this was a mixture of scorn and wanting to ambush and get content off of me. I made it clear I'm a family man, that I'm married. And then even after she ambushed me, I sent her a message like, I'm disappointed that you ambushed me like this. At this point, I don't want any further communication with you. Thank you for your time and your support while it lasted. Then she kept making more videos, calling me a fraud, calling me a rapist, calling me a child predator and a child abuser, all this other fucking bullshit. So I sent her a text message. I said, honestly, what is your issue with me? We both said how we felt about that show. Can you let it go and move on? I'm concerned you will use your platform to slander me and my family. My wife is a private person and is focused on her career. She does not need this type of stuff going on online. It could cause issues with her advancement. But Tanya claims to be a woman who is pro-black woman. Yet she had no problem flirting with the husband of a black woman, nor any issue publicly degrading me and lying on me, and thus potentially hurting the career of a black woman. But now let's get back to more recent shit, where Tanya TKO is spreading the same lies that started in the Golden Sphere. Again, using her big channel to bully and harass me. She's making outrageous claims that anyone with common sense could see through. She's saying this poor disabled lady is my mother, and that my mother's not dead, that I made up some story about her being dead, and that my mother isn't Arab either, and that my father isn't black and he wasn't a pimp, and that I'm just a white guy pretending to be biracial so I can talk shit about black men. Tanya sounds like a lying mammy at this point. When these crazy allegations and rumors first started in January, Lisa reached out to me. She said she was being bullied and harassed to do this, and she stopped talking to them after her and I had a conversation. We talked on the phone. And this lady, again, is paralyzed from the waist down. And all she has is her dogs. She has mental health issues and she lives in a tiny apartment with her dogs. The creepy guy that made this crazy shit knew that about her and knew Lisa a little bit. I don't know the extent of it, but he knew her enough to know how to threaten her and that she was mentally ill. So she would give no pushback on this. And then when Tanya picked up the story, I sent her another message. I said, so the crazy started up again with the BS that you're my mom. Are you willing to come up on a live stream and debunk this with me? She said, I'm scared. I'd rather not get involved with it anymore. I'm sorry they are doing this to you. She is scared. And yet Tanya TKO on her big platform is not only trying to bully me, but bully this disabled, mentally ill woman. And normally I don't like to respond to this type of bullshit because it's stupid. So I made a video showing my Ancestry DNA results. I've been on Ancestry for a long time. As shown here, I started my account in 2016. That's when I first took the swab and I mailed everything in. I paid for a subscription because being a man who never met my father and never met my father's side of the family at that time, I wanted to discover some things. I wanted to find out who they were. And I was hoping Ancestry could connect me. And these were my Ancestry results. I actually made a video and I posted it. You should go check it out. It's called People Lie, but DNA Don't. Discussing all of this. The problem with this narcissistic, scorned, bitter old woman is she thought that I was so alone, didn't have any family that would come to my aid in this. She read my book about me growing up in group homes and foster homes and not really knowing my mother too well, and the trauma that I had with her, about my father, about my many failed relationships, and how I haven't been in contact with a lot of my siblings for years. But what she doesn't know is I wrote that book before my mother died. This book was published June 26, 2019. I started writing it in 2017. So at that time, my mother had not died. I was still trying to talk to her. And in fact, we were discussing my father. She was telling me how she met my father and what my father did to her, how he trafficked her, how he drugged her up, how he put her on the street corner, how he abused her, and who my father really was. My mother would die almost a year later. But I do have lots of friends and family. My father had many ex-wives, and I've been in contact with one of them for many years now. And I reached out to her. I blurred out her name and picture because I don't want her to be doxxed. I did the same thing with my brother and other people that I'm about to show. This was December 15th, 2021. My dad would die 3 days later. I couldn't get a hold of him. So I said, hey, is my dad okay? Have not been able to reach him. And she called me on my phone. Then I reached out to her yesterday. And she called me on my phone and we spoke for like a good 30 to 40 minutes about my father and all the nonsense that's going on. She said, T is dead, T-Mac. And it really doesn't matter what anyone has to say about him anymore. She told me to let it go and let God. And that I should try to make amends with my siblings. Because when my father died, we all had a big falling apart. Over a video that I tagged him in where I discussed how heartbroken I was that I never got to meet this man. I spoke on my life, on how he abandoned me and what he did to my mother. And how I was confused, how I was angry, how I was sad. And my sisters and her side of the family didn't like that. They asked me to take the video down. That now is not the time to say these things. My response was, you can't tell me how to mourn. And you knew him. I didn't. You interacted with him. I didn't. And I refused to take it down. So they wrote me out of his obituary, told me I'm not invited to the funeral, and we haven't talked since. But still, she was pissed this was happening. And so was my little brother.
Hi, I'm just his brother. There's a lot going on talking about my mom, but she died in April 2020. I don't know what you guys interested in her or why it's being talked about or brought up, but you know, people live in peace.
I blurred his face as I am all of the people that I'm about to show. Because if these psychopaths can say the crazy shit about me that they're saying and concoct this fucking wild story, I want to protect my brother and family and friends from that as well. But he was pissed. He wasn't having it. He said some choice cuss words at the end, so I cut it off. My brother's just like me when it comes to our mouths. This next clip is from a woman that took care of my mother for the last 4 years of her life. I was there when my mother died. She was my mother's PCA, or personal care assistant. She loved my mother. And she was pissed when I told her about this and she saw the videos. See for yourself.
My name is Whitney, and I wanted to address a particular video that I came across regarding Jesse's mother. I was her caregiver up to about 4 years until her passing, which, to be clear, was April 2020. She was an Arab woman who could barely speak English. The fact that people are actually going online and having their audacity to disgrace or dishonor someone's deceased family member just to antagonize an individual is disgusting. It is distasteful. It is heartless, cruel, and just hateful. Leave this man alone so he can mourn and grieve his deceased mother.
Whitney is a dear friend of mine because she took care of and cared for my mother for the last 4 years of her life. She cared for my mother when I couldn't because of my trauma and pain from her. Because of the things that my mother did to me and my siblings, I had to distance myself. And honestly, I regret not being there for her on her last days. I regret not being man enough to put that shit aside and to forgive my mother on her last days. But Whitney was there the whole time, and I owe Whitney a debt that I can never repay. I didn't forgive my mother until after she passed. And again, I blurred out her face. Whitney has a husband, kids, a beautiful family, and a nice career. And she was so heated about this that she made this video. She wanted to post it online herself, to put it on her TikTok page. But I told her, nah, let me cover your face up with something and I'll put it on a video I'm about to make. Because like my brother, I want to protect her from being doxxed and having vicious lies spread about her. Now, this other man I'm about to show, he had a whole lot to say. A lot of things he had to say was personal information, so I clipped a lot of the video out. My mother converted to Christianity. She could never forgive the Egyptian men that betrayed her here in America and the things they did to her and helped my father do to her. And these men claimed to be Muslim. So she detached herself from that completely. And she joined an evangelistic branch of Christianity. And this man would volunteer to help her out a lot. Whenever my mother needed something moved around, she would call him. And I met him for the first time at my mother's funeral. I have videos and pictures of the funeral, but I'm not going to show that. That's too personal.
I met Jesse at his mother, Miss Isaac's funeral in April 2020, and I just gotta say, it breaks my heart how people can be so cruel to attack a man's mother who just passed away.
In conclusion, these people are vicious, violent, liars, obsessed, psychopaths, and stalkers. And all this information and more, I'm sending to an agent in the FBI who I've worked with before when I was getting death and bomb threats from Kangs online. I've also contacted detectives in the city and state that Tiny TKO lives in and sent them all this information. She should be getting a knock on the door of the little shack she lives in pretty soon from a detective that has some questions about her harassment and stalking of me. I filed a police report, and that, as well with all the other information, has been sent to YouTube's legal team. People have asked me how come I haven't sued her yet. Earlier this year, I got an attorney when she first started off on attacking me. And we were gearing up to sue her big time because we thought that her being a YouTuber with the sub count that she has, that she was making some decent money so we can sue the shit out of her. But after doing the preliminary investigations, she's broke as shit. She's not making any money off her channel. I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure it's demonetized. And that's why she begs for apples all the time on her show. And that's why she lives in the trash can that she lives. She went from van life to roach apartment life. So broke that she had to rent out a roach and rat infested apartment above a business. So suing her would just be a net loss for me with all the attorney fees and everything, and I would get nothing back because she didn't have shit. She needs those apples just to pay her rent. She's living YouTube video to YouTube video. And because she has no real YouTube content creator talent, she makes up shit. And I got a whole lot more I can show and tell about Tanya TKO. But this video is not about doxing her or putting her information out there. And believe me, I have a lot. But I'm not as nasty and grimy as she is. And unlike the lies she's spewing, the information, addresses, tax lien, the criminal history of her and her family, the shady business deals, the property disputes, the family disputes, the marital disputes, police reports, I got it all. And I was primed and ready to go. But some bigger YouTubers hit me up through Instagram and told me to be better than her, and this is part of being in the YouTube business. People talk shit, people make up lies, but what counts is the way that you respond. Ignore them. Show them that they're not worth your time, and neither is the shit they are saying. And they were right. And I've said all I have to say about this fucking bum and those who are joining in with her in this. About the psychopaths in the golden sphere, about that convicted crackhead that's been exposed all over the internet for beating his wife and his pregnant baby mamas, no kind of stuff. This video is enough. They're gonna keep running with their fucked up story and their fucked up narrative so she can get apples off my name. But just like last time, Tanya, your hate is only gonna further my greatness. And I must thank you for this. You were so bitter, so hateful, and so scorned that you didn't realize that you were helping my channel and not really hurting it. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings to all. I love y'all. Be safe.
It's angry.